Well, that beautiful pond and garden is just one of many that you'll be able to visit coming up very soon with the annual Pond and Garden Tour here in Austin. And we're joined by a couple of great folks who are going to tell us all about it. BJ Jenkins, welcome back to Central Texas Gardener. And BJ is joined by Ted Paon. Thanks for being here, Ted. Y'all are volunteers with the Pond Society and are putting this on. And the Hale Garden and Pond that we just saw is just one of the many marvels.
Yes, it is, and it is one of the perennial favorites in the tour. People love the Hales. They're fun when you talk to them on the interview, or if you talk to them at the pond. They have lots of things to share, and they'll be on the morning as well as the nighttime tour.
Okay, and that's one of the cool things about the Pond Society tour. It does have a nighttime component to it.
Yes.
It's a 2-day event, and there's a separation of territories, isn't there, Ted?
Yes, the South Ponds are on Saturday, the North Ponds are on Sunday, and of course there's the 2 ponds that are going to be the night ponds.
Okay, and is that both nights, or is that just
on Saturday night?
Just on Saturday night, okay, and that's June 4th and 5th. Let's dive in, no pun intended, and talk about some of the ponds. Good things do come in small packages.
Oh, they do.
And the first pond we're going to talk about here is a small garden, and we're going to refer to these by the owner's names.
Yes.
This is owned by Jeff and Janice.
Right, and this pond is the first one that visitors will go to on Saturday if they follow the pond route that we have outlined in the program. The pond is in the front yard of a house, and it is, the word perfect just keeps popping into my mind. It is the perfect pond. It's about 1,000 gallons. It's built with these huge slabs of soft peach-colored stone, and has a beautiful waterfall where the water, instead of coming over the top, billows out from inside with fern, maidenhair fern next to it, and the plantings are beautiful. Wise use of texture, and all of it was done by the owners.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And that's one of the great things. We talk about this every year, but one of the fun things about going on any garden tour, but I think especially with ponds, because there's kind of a technique involved that's kind of special. You get to talk to the people who created them in most cases.
And you know, that pond is a small pond, but on the north side, we have a pond that was built by Michelle and Steve, and it was their very first pond. It's 5,000 gallons. It's absolutely perfect. It has a beautiful waterfall, a bog, and they had never built a pond before. So it shows that owner-built ponds can be just amazing sizes.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit more about Michelle and Steve's. We're jumping around now.
Yes.
We're on the north side now with Michelle and Steve. And, tell me a little bit more about the particular pond and what people will experience here.
Okay, that garden, as you enter, there's an interesting gazebo on the right side that they've just built this year, and lots of native plantings. The pond is on the right side of the yard, and it's surrounded by sandstone. So instead of seeing the limestone that you do in ponds that seem to be more of a hill country feeling, this one has dark red limestone. Beautifully built, and the owners will be so happy to explain all the work that went into it. The owner, Steve, learned a lot, did a lot of reading, and then put in a pond that is perfect.
Well, okay, you've used the word perfect now a couple
twice,
times. This is a very high standard for people to live up to.
It is.
Before we dive in again, back to practical questions about how people can learn about the routes and buy tickets, etc. Ted?
Okay, on our website, the austinpondsociety.org, we have information about the tour. You can get your wristbands for $20 from the website and pick them up at any pond. If you've got a group of 10 or more, you can get your wristbands for $15 a piece.
Okay. And I understand there's a little bit of a theme this year as well, Ted.
This year, it's ponds and picnics.
Okay.
It's a full day of visiting ponds. You've got to eat sometime. So we featured in our program some of the fantastic parks here in Austin, up into Cedar Park, where you can stop, have something to eat, go on to the next tour.
Okay, so it's all part of the route.
It's all part of the route. And then after you're done on Saturday, take a break, have supper, grab a flashlight, and do the 2 night ponds.
Okay, sounds great. Now let's get back to the ponds here, BJ. And we've talked about Jeff and Janice's small pond in the south, the whimsical pond created by Michelle and Steve. Now tell me about Monty's pond. Now, this is another southern one, right?
This is a pond on the south side. It's
Okay.
off Brody Lane.
Okay.
And when I arrived at that pond, I was lucky enough to be there by myself for 2 hours. And I stood on the patio looking out at the pond and the garden, and it was like every sense was just being pinged by the setting. The fragrances were wonderful. There was a soft breeze blowing, the wind chimes, the sound of the pond. It was wonderful. And
That's
I thought,
one of the magic things about ponds.
it
isn't
is. And I thought, well, wait a minute, we have 5 senses here. And then I realized there was a loquat tree in the back, so I could have gotten a sense of taste also. But it was wonderful. He has an interesting double waterfall that flows into the pond on one side, and it flows around the back to a bog. And at that point, the bog was lined with irises. It was beautiful. His water is crystal clear. And one of the interesting things about this site, it reminds me of Hawaii, because I counted 58 plumeria.
Wow.
Now, they weren't blooming yet, but I
Yeah.
think in June they will be. So it's a very tropical setting with lots of places to sit and swings to swing on. The kiddos will love this one. It was a fun place to visit.
Well, again, great opportunity for people not just to indulge their senses, but to learn about how they can bring that into their own backyard.
Yes.
What about koi and goldfish on the ponds this year?
The largest koi that I've seen were in Michelle's pond. She had some beautiful koi with beautiful markings. Monty has koi also. I mean, you saw koi that were in the video earlier. So practically everyone has either goldfish or koi.
Yeah.
And some beautiful ones.
That's one of the things, again, that if you have a pond, to have the critters out there, whether they're fish or, at night the frogs come out,
Yes.
And some other critters at night occasionally as well,
Yeah,
raccoons.
we don't need to dwell on those, but yeah, and we provide habitat. That's the
Sure.
interesting thing about ponds, and what people don't think about. The obvious thing are the birds come in to
Right.
the streams and whatever, but dragonflies come too.
Oh, yeah.
And this provides an important part of their life cycle to be able to lay those eggs and have them dwell in the bottoms of the ponds
Well, it's
until they're ready to.
It seems like you always have a few dragonflies that
Yeah.
claim every corner of every
Yes.
pond, right?
Yes.
It's always
And
a
they're
beautiful
magical, too.
thing. There's another pond we want to talk about, and this one I understand involves some stories. This is Matt's pond.
There are a couple stories that have to
okay.
do with Matt's pond.
Well, the way you say that makes me very curious about these stories.
Well, you mentioned koi, and we visited Matt's Pond when it was first built for a different owner. When he put it in 2013, and it was a pond that he just went with all of his creative ideas. Beautiful, beautiful garden. Well, I was there and I was asking a million questions about how the filtering system worked, and they opened this large tube that's in the back that is only supposed to be open once every 2 years, and there was a koi inside, and he probably went in when he was about this big, and now he was this big, so they rescued him by accident. His name is Lucky, and
Very lucky.
he is in the pond now, and the water in that pond is crystal clear. There's a really interesting bog system that Matt will be happy to explain, because although he was the builder, he is now the owner because he purchased the house just this last year.
He missed the pond so much he had to have the
He
home.
loved this pond. Has the pond and has the home too.
And he's got lucky.
And he is lucky, right?
So that's a great story. There are others, I understand, but again, that's something that the people who take the tour will be speaking of lucky to hear,
Yes.
because that's one of one of my favorite things about this particular tour is that you really get to learn
Yes.
so much from the people who've put them in.
And the owners will be available at each pond to answer any questions
Right.
that anyone has. So it really can be a great learning experience, and it certainly is inspirational because every garden you visit has something wonderful.
Okay, and real quickly again, Ted, just the highlights about how people get the information and the dates.
Okay, austinpondsociety.org, June 4th and 5th. if you want to go on the tour for free, you can be a volunteer. Just go to our website and you can sign up there or email volunteers@austinpondsociety.org.
Okay, well, we'll have to wrap it up on that note. Thank you both so much for coming along. Best wishes for the tour.
Thank you.
All right, coming up next, it's Daphne.